The machines took a big step forward today. We're talking about artificial intelligence and a Bay Area startup that's showing off what AI can do like we have never seen before.
But what does this mean for your jobs? And why were protesters outside the company's offices today? Let's bring in our business and tech reporter, Scott Budman, for some answers. Scott.
Well, Janelle and Terry, we are, of course, talking about OpenAI, which has a ton of funding from both Microsoft and Silicon Valley VCs. Today, they showed off what they've been using that money for, an update to a program called ChatGPT, where the AI now wants to be your friend.
Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours.
And that's how the story of GPT-4 begins, with a phone that wants to be your friend, or at least help you with math.
The first step is to get all the terms with X on one side and the constants on the other side.
But even as OpenAI rolled out the latest chat product at its headquarters,
AI later, safety now! AI later, safety now!
A group called Pause AI protested outside.
We're out here asking for OpenAI to be reined in until we know that what they're doing is safe and that they're doing it in a safe way. And it really shouldn't be us doing that. It should be our government leaders.
Building multi-step applications and AI workflows shouldn't mean writing custom, complex code. Developers often spend too much time tracking progress, writing error handling logic, and managing retries instead of focusing on their innovation. AWS Lambda Durable Functions simplifies all of this. Write code using your programming language and IDE, while Durable Functions provides built-in patterns to manage progress and error handling. Build multi-step applications and AI workflows faster with Lambda Durable Functions without having to write complex logic or manage additional infrastructure. Get started today.
Biggest short-term risk for ungoverned AI?
I'm a huge enthusiast when it comes for AI. I believe that the level of productivity is extraordinary and the technology is moving very fast. You're going to see it used in every sector, in every company, and therefore you're not going to have really powerful companies and powerful individuals trying to stop it, which is what usually happens with the technological revolution. You get, post-carbon energy, and then all the coal and the oil people try to stop it, try to lobby against it. That's not happening in AI, so it's going to actually lead to a much bigger upside than people expect, much faster. But technology is moving much faster than the ability to govern it. And that means that the negative externalities, which one would expect from such a transformative technology, are going to happen very quickly, and they aren't going to be contained or constrained. What kind of negative externalities? Well, one obvious one is deep fakes and artificial intelligence used for disinformation. So, in an election like the United States, where so much is at stake, where people are so angry, where there's so much chaos that could come, we're moving from disinformation to AI-driven disinformation. That's a very significant disruptive risk. Then there's also the question of what bad actors can do to just blow things up. So you use AI to code, it's very impressive. Use AI to create malware, it's very dangerous and costly. Use AI to create vaccines. We love that. That actually got us out of COVID a lot faster than we otherwise would have been. Use AI to create new viruses and new diseases. We don't like that so much. And as you have these new incredible AI tools that are rolling out that everyone has access to, some of which are open source, and they will be used not just for productive purposes, but also by tinkerers and by bad actors, this is the first year we're going to start to see the negative impact of that more broadly.
It's already starting to play an impact in our lives, particularly in public services like health and education. Now, the reason we're hosting this summit is because AI technology is developing at an incredible pace. The people who are developing the technology themselves have raised some concerns about what might happen, how it might be used by bad actors, and I want to take a lead in protecting the British people. That's why we...
All right, 1 2 1 2. Mike, check your deck. Let me get a sound check.
Yo, 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 yo.
All right, what's up? And Josh, let me get a sound check.
Hey, test. Can you hear me?
Yeah, all right, everybody sounds good. All right, man. All right, we right back at it. We got an hour. Let's get it all done. Um, I think it's episode 9 of Tech Support. Let's do it. So we got a special guest today. We got I ran into this gentleman yesterday at a restaurant here in Cali, Colombia. Um, and then when he asked me what I did, I tell him I have a YouTube channel called Machismo TV, and he actually knew who Machismo TV was, which was crazy. And then it turns out we're both in Theo's class, and he is just finishing up Armageddon with Theo as well. And he's already certified. He's got his SAA. I think he's got the HashiCorp cert, and he might have the AI practitioner. And I'm like, dude, why aren't you interviewing for jobs yet, et cetera, et cetera? You're ready to go. You need to get in speech ops. Then I'm like, man, do you know Dak? You should probably talk to Dak. Dak's big on the speech ops, and he actually knows Dak from the Conclave, Small World, and Small World. We're all the way on another side of the Western Hemisphere, and we're both in Theo's class. So then I was like, why don't you just come on to the show and have Dak talk to you about speech ops? So here we are. This should be a good show today. We're going to be talking about employment. We'll review a little bit of Kelsey and tech with Nana, talking about employment and cloud. And it should be a general good conversation about black men jobs and tech, speech ops, and Theo's class in general. So Dak, let me get an opening statement, and then we'll get Josh to introduce himself.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Hey, Josh. Some of you, first time hearing from me, I am Dak. I started in Theo's class about 3 years ago in class 4. I am certified in the SAA as well as the cloud practitioner and also the solutions architect professional. I am a data professional specializing in AI architecture and solutions architecture.
All right. Guys, share the stream, and you could probably even drop it in the Facebook group too. But Josh, let's get an introduction, and then me and Dak will ask you some questions about where you are, and then I'm gonna get I'll get Dak to do a little brief intro, talk to you a little bit about speech ops, and then we'll look at we're gonna look at this CIO article about the cloud roles being in demand, and that'll give us a nice framework for the conversation. And guys, I have posted in the chat, we're having a fundraiser for the channel. We got to hit our goal by the 17th. So if you could contribute to the fundraiser, greatly appreciate it. We got to keep the lights on. You know what? And before I even do that, shout out to Billings Slaymeister for becoming a channel member last night at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. Appreciate you, man. And let's give you a drop for becoming a channel member.
We got more pricing games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricing games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. Off by a stop.
All right. All right, so yeah, let's Josh, let's get why don't you get us up to date? I know you were in Theo's one of Theo's classes. Let's get a little brief background and where you're at now. And like I said, I know you're 25. You're all certed up. So let's talk about that, and then let's talk about you being interested in starting to interview for gigs and everything now, and then that'll give us a nice segue for Dak to give you his input and talk to you about speech ops.
Yeah, no problem. Hey everyone, how's it going? Dak �𝐐. Pleasure to be on the podcast. Yeah, my name is Josh. Starting to go by the Cloud Esquire, but yeah, I'm 25. I just got out of not just, but I got out of the military recently. I would say last year in March or whatnot. I've been in Theo's class since class 5, but due to military service, I had to essentially take a year off and then join class 6. Kind of fell off due to some problems I was having at home, but just didn't want to give up because I see the potential in this that Theo's doing. So I'm in class 7. In the last year, actually not even year, but like 6 to 8 months, I got my AWS SAA, my AWS AI practitioner, and my HashiCorp Terraform associate. So I've been grinding really hard on the certification route. But I know that I can't just keep chasing certifications forever, and that it's actually kind of time to really get into the saddle and start like prepping for the job market, because from what everyone's telling me, I'm already at the position to start interviewing or whatnot. But yeah, like I said, I'm still in class 7 right now. We just finished Armageddon. Theo's going through all the projects right now and looking at the work that we've done. Hopefully it'll turn out favorable, but yeah, it definitely was a good experience touching, I guess, services that I've never really touched before. And yeah, that's pretty much it about me.
Well, hats off to you for accomplishing the feat of completing the Armageddon assignment. That is an assignment that, is kind of like that point where all the studying you've done is now put to test. You're given the challenge, you with a case study, and you have a list of technical requirements that you have to complete, and it seems like you and your group have finished that, and hats off to you to finishing that. Going back to what you were saying, you've been since class 5, and you've made it all the way back and did all of what you had to do, and with all the other life events you had. But you are definitely primed to get in the gate. You have a unique skill set. You're wanting to specialize in artificial intelligence. And one of the things I will say with speech ops is that it's about how you are able to communicate and leverage the people that you're with at their level. So let's say you're interviewing in a particular role. Let's say it's a machine learning engineer role or AI engineer role. And you have a room of people who they have their experience, they have their knowledge base. Speech ops, you're able to walk people through something like a problem. You leverage their assets that they have. You get the buy-in to know, is this something that works for them? You don't come in with a bag of tricks. You come in with the product. You are the product. You tell them, hey, who you are, why you're here, why they should bring you on the team. So already, speech ops is integrated into that conversation. You are assuming the role of being with that particular partner, and you leverage their assets, you ask them questions, and then you take what they've given you, just like you did in Armageddon. You receive these requirements, the technical requirements, what the business requirements are, and you come back to them. You let them know this is how this all works, how you can take your assets to leverage with their assets to get them to a solution, particular solution. And if you do that well, and they like you, because that's another thing, convincingly they like you, and you can sell that to them, you're closer to getting the job, and that just will help for you throughout your career. So that's really what speech ops is, and you are primed to get in the races for these jobs right now, Josh. I mean, you, especially given that you have those 3 certifications, you are ready to go, man. So that's all I've got.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I think one of the reasons why, and I know a lot of brothers can attest to this, one of the reasons why I think I've kind of, because I have heard about speech ops and I've watched some of the videos, but I haven't really like dove too much into it, is because of, I guess, what Theo always calls FUD. You know, though I have the SAA and the AI practitioner, I still don't know what I know. I still don't know what I don't know. So I don't necessarily, I don't know if I feel prepared enough.
That's the strength. That's the strength. Strength is not knowing. And that's where you bring people in that do know something. It's like we're having this conversation right now, and you come and you presented that. And so it is for me to help give you foresight on how you can leverage what you don't know to get people to convincingly put you on their team, so that you can help leverage their skills to help bolster you, and then you can embolden them with your skill sets. So that's the thing about the crux about with speech ops. And we can talk about this after this episode is over. You can just message me, DM me on Messenger, and then we can kind of go more in depth than that. But I think you're highly capable of that because you're transparent. You've already demonstrated your transparency, your honesty. And that's what they're looking at in these interviews today, because a lot of companies now, they are starting to leverage the AI as a part of scoring candidates and how authentic their responses are. And you have a raw authenticity, and all you hear each have a raw authenticity that you haven't tapped into. It's not a weakness. It's actually, you can leverage as a strength, but it's just how you communicate that to the people in the room. That's the key.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. I try to be as transparent as possible. If I know something, I'm not going to be overly boisterous about knowing it, but I'll be quick to admit, like, hey, I'm not sure. I might know it, not know in this moment, especially I used to give briefs a lot in the military. So if I don't know something, one of the things that we were always trained on is like, hey, sir, I don't know the answer right now, but I can get back to you on that and like figure it out, you know?
That's the way you do it. It's like, there's no such thing as can't. It's I'll get back to that. That's great. Or you say, hey, look, what do you guys have? Like, you have a set of questions that you've prepared, so that you can get the buy-in to know, okay, what is the processes that they have that's important? What's a pinch point that they're having in the organization? And you get these things, you collect it, you intentionally listen, and you've already pre-planned. Like you've already came up with a framework that you can use. You've picked out a list of questions. It's almost like an audit. You're auditing them. It's like you already are auditing them. Treat it as an audit. You're coming in. You have maybe a couple of, maybe 3 or 4 questions just to know what's going on with them, because that's really what we're going to do in a job anyway. There's going to be, you're not just going to do a task. It's like, why am I doing this? You're building that up in that interview. You're getting that information in, and then you wow them by showing them how this is you by taking it and applying that information, and they won't know that you knew this, that you planned this out. You did your R&D, you did your homework, and you can leverage your assets to get to where you need. And that's the thing, like, you just have to put the time in, and you're going to get there eventually. Some jobs may not get it, but you're going to get there eventually. And the more that you do it, it's like you're getting your reps in. You're going to be more confident. You're going to more confident in that room. You're going to know how to read the people in the room and leverage them.
So what would you say, knowing where I am, and I guess some other brothers in the class, or people even thinking about joining Theo's class once they get certified and get some reps under their belt building infrastructure, what would you say is the starting point for speech ops?
I would say in your group, because when you are in your group working on like the Armageddon or something like that, it's a pivotal moment because you're working in your teams. You're all trying to get to the answer. So one of the things that's key on the job is documentation, like documenting the entire process, everything that occurred, whether you're recording it using some app or and documenting it, actually document it down, like what you've done. Why are you doing this? Why did you decide to do this particular approach in your code? Say maybe it's like it's a modular approach versus just a straightforward approach. Like why did you all choose that? And also just the fact that you're reviewing the code within your teams is also helping you in your communication and speaking among your peers. So you become a sort of a contributor within your team, and then also be a knowledge asset within that team and in the organization. So in Theo's class, he does allow you to and others to explain the explainability about your solution, and you go over and review that. But by doing that in the Armageddon assignment, that's already you're already demonstrating speech ops. So like you already have done it. It's just now that you want to maybe crystallize it, and then when you're actually on the job, it won't be something that you haven't done before. You will have the imposter syndrome, of course, but it's like you already are doing it. You've already done it. Now it's just a matter of documenting it and reviewing it and just taking the time to demonstrate and review the stuff amongst your teams. And the more that you do that, that's just going to embolden you and each of the guys in your team to do well in these interviews. You know what I mean? Like you already have the skills. It's just more like how can you just polish that and just be confident when you go into that interview.
Yeah, that's definitely I would say a key factor that is a little intimidating. Hearing you, Jules, Law, Joshua, I think Gordon recently, he recently got J1, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, just hearing some of the things that you guys talk about or the way you explain it, I'm like, I know what they're talking about, but if someone asked me said question, I don't know if I would be able to, I don't know if I'd be able to come up with the same answer the way they did, you know?
And that's totally valid. I mean, what they're looking for, a lot of the hiring managers are looking for, they're looking for authenticity. They're looking at like, how can you communicate at their level of understanding? Meaning, when I talk about speech ops, think of it like DevOps. You have the various environments and different staging. Speech ops is similar. You have different levels. You have the initial recruiter call. You have maybe the one or two more other calls. You have a call maybe that's on a panel with other people on there, technical and non-technical, and then there's like the hiring manager. You know, and so at each level, it's just gonna be more. You know, it's gonna be they're gonna expect certain things. So you don't have. It's like, but how you leverage the people in the room, and that's the thing. You have to like know that you have to lean into them, asking those questions, make it more like a conversation and discussion than say like an interview or something that's more like an interrogation. It doesn't have to be that way. And the most critical part is your pitch. They call the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch is just you revving the room. Like it's like we're warming it up. You're getting people excited, interested in you. That's what you want to get out of it. And each person's going to have a different pitch for a different level, and it's gonna be you who personalizes that, because what you have is going to be different from me or Jules or all those other guys. And as long as you tap in, it's one of those things, man, when you tap into yourself, because it's a part of like self-reflection. Once you do that more often, those initial fears or worries will start to like kind of roll off your back.
Okay. Would you say that step one is speech ops or resume ops? Because I know they tie into each other very extensively.
Well, both are a means to an end, but honestly, like you got to know what is it that you want to do?
Sure.
That's number one. And then number two, I would say it's more like, all right, you've already done the other part. You have the certifications, and 3 is good. You want to keep it there for now. Because one of the things that employers look at is not only the certifications you have, but the time that you get them. If you've got like, say, so many certifications and they are all like within a certain time frame, they look at that and they will ask you, hey, what are you doing? You have to defend that. And so 3 certifications is fine, but when you start getting more and more within a shorter time frame, they look at it kind of like sideways, but you have to defend it. So I would rather like this is a prime time for you to get yourself prepared, get your resume on point, get your LinkedIn on point, but ultimately the speech ops that you have, that's going to help you drive your narrative, which will also drive the resume and the LinkedIn.
Okay.
Those things there, I mean, will help, but ultimately when you're in that call, they're not looking at your certification, they're not looking at your resume, they're looking at who you are. They want to see how authentic you are. It's like we're having this conversation now. They want to feel who you are. They want that vibe check. And as long as you keep that in mind and you allow yourself to be relaxed and calm, they'll just make it a lot more of a smooth, fruitful process.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely know, like you said, that just the vibe of it all, because outside of the I guess technical aspect, they also want to see if you're a cultural fit. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yeah, they like you. I mean, there are people I've seen who are very sharp in terms of understanding what the technology is, but for some reason they have a hard time. Maybe they do get the job, but they don't stay there very long. They go through a series of jobs. They have a lot of difficulties handling the particular people dynamics. And that's something that I would say in Theo's class, it kind of mitigated that because you've already have that experience. You know how to work with people from various backgrounds, whether they have the knowledge or not. So it's a matter of it's a continuation and being aware of that. So, and then you have your Army background, which is just something that is it's already baked into you. You have that situational awareness. And that's what they're looking for. They're not just looking about the knowledge. The knowledge is there. It's just how can you leverage what they have so you can get the answer, because you've already done that in Armageddon. You have to leverage the people in that room to drive to a particular solution. And it's the same on the interview, it's the same on the job. That's speech ops in a nutshell. You're leveraging the people in the room, you're asking certain questions, and then they're to help drive the workflow. And that's really what it is. I mean, of course, you do have job descriptions. Now, I'll say this in terms of that. When you do your resume, it's going to be based on the job responsibilities, what the role is. So let's say, for example, we talk about identity and access management, rollback access. You have to have explicit definition on the role and what they have and what that particular account has access for and for how long. So the job description, the job role is what you want to lock in on. And you want to build at least a replicate of roles. Let's say it's AI engineer. You want to have in your database or on a spreadsheet, copy paste about 30 of those. And then what you want to do with that is you want to take all that information and look, and you can add it into like a chat. You can take that and save it in the CSV file, and you can use an LLM to give you the analytics. They'll give you analytics based upon what are the top keywords, what are like the main things they're looking for, and that's going to help drive your resume ops. It's that.
So when you say like the you need a list, are you talking about specifically like keywords dealing with whatever role you're talking about? So
that'll be from the analytics. It's like, so you have the AI practitioner, so you have at least a general high level understanding of AI. Is that correct?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay, so then you understand the initial part is the data ingestion.
Correct.
So now you're at the stage where you're trying to get a feed of data. So to get a good feed of data, you need at least about, for the job description, you need at least 30 to 40 job descriptions, and you're just pulling them. Doesn't matter if it's a remote. None of that matters. You just want to get all that into a database, which will be like in an Excel spreadsheet.
But specifically like for one role, right? Like we don't want to be mixing like database with security. Like we're specifically focusing on
exactly. It should if it's like exactly. It should be that you take that information, the job responsibilities, you're just copying and pasting it. You just make you like a column, the job title, the role, and then responsibilities column if you want. But I'd say the critical part is going to be the role responsibilities, then the requirements. Don't look at the requirements. The requirements doesn't really matter. It's really the responsibilities. You have to understand what the responsibilities are. And once you have at least about 30 to 40 of those job descriptions into that spreadsheet, use the LLM and that will help you get that analytics. They'll do all the data analysis. It'll let you know the context behind each one, and that'll help you get your resume on point. It's not that difficult. And then when you have do you have a resume? Do you even have?
I was working with Kevin to kind of build one, but I don't have one that I'd be willing to put out there to start getting bites. That's something that needs to be solidified.
Okay. So the resume ops part. So after the data collection phase and analytics, in the analytics portion, just have a resume. Don't worry about how polished it is, because it's in a raw state. Just like you get these job descriptions, you're not really thinking about, okay, you're not applying to these jobs, but you're building a database. And again, you're generating new input based on the data that you have. And so you take your resume and you feed that into the existing knowledge base and that LLM that you feed in the initial prompt. The next stage is then adapting, because it's going to adapt, say, hey, I want to adapt my resume based on the job role. And it's going to take those analytics and it'll tailor it towards that. And it'll say, maintain my narrative, maintain my voice. And you can customize it to where it will maintain your narrative within that resume. So it won't sound like it's something that's from a bot. It'll maintain your voice. It doesn't take a while, but that initial part of just getting those jobs in, like job descriptions in that spreadsheet, will take a little bit of time. But other than that, once you have that, it's like you're good. Like you have a polished resume that is based on at least 30 to 40 average. You have something that's robust, and then you should be good to go. It's not that difficult. It's just you just have to apply the data architecture to it in your speech ops, in your resume ops. You got to ingest the data. You got to pull it all in. You perform the analytics, and then you also do the deep contextual analytics, which is more like the machine learning, the AI, which helps generate new output data. But you have to have good data first. And so that's where, again, that database comes in, getting that CSV file, getting those job descriptions in.
Okay. I kind of want to keep it broad just for like the other brothers, because we can connect offline and going in.
But the concept of just how to gather required data and the analytics, and then you want to get deep contextual analysis. I mean, once you understand that, then you just apply it across the board. And speech ops is like one aspect of that, but it's applying it in real situations and how we talk with people, and how we leverage them to get what they want, and we get what we want.
Would you say that age plays a factor into it? Because as you know, within Theo's group, I mean, the ages range, I think the oldest I heard was like 62 in his group versus me being 25. Like, there's some things that I might not be able to say or put on my resume or show myself as, because the timeline doesn't necessarily add up, if you know what I mean. Because 5 years ago, I was in college. 6 years ago, or like, yeah, 6 years ago, I was just getting out of high school, you know? So you understand what I mean by that question?
The most important thing that the hiring manager cares about is that you have the skills to do the job and that you are ready to deliver. That's the most important thing. Now, when it comes to crafting that kind of stuff, we can talk about that, you know, off stream. But generally speaking, the hiring manager cares, can you do the damn job? Okay. Like, can you think on your feet? Can you think outside of the certification that you require? Because the certification is giving you a baseline. But if all you bring to the table and all you speak on is on the baseline, then you're not able, and you're not leveraging the people in the room to give you the understanding and clarity, then you've lost your chance of even getting consideration for that job. So it's like, you just have to be someone that's authentic, that's coachable, someone that can think outside of the bun, so to speak. Like, you know how to call in and pull in from those people, and you are being able to communicate to tell them what you have, and then they tell you what they have, and then drive them. Those are drivers to actionable items that goes to a particular solution or implementation.
Okay, I got you. Is there any pointers or anything? Because I don't want to take up the whole time, just me and you going back and forth. Like I said,
No. This is good. This is good. This is what I was telling you yesterday. Like, let's just do it on air. Like, Nick, just rock out. You guys are going good.
This is, like, for all those who are watching, this is speech ops in action. So, I mean, I have a lot of background, strong in architecture. I understand infrastructure as code. I only have 3 certifications. But one thing I have to learn is I can't just know everything. I have to be able to communicate and explain why does it matter, what is important for that person. Make it make sense where it's in plain English.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned. I had to learn younger. One of my friend's fathers told me, he's like, if you can't communicate it, then it's worthless, because you might have the idea in your head, but if no one understands it, then it's like, what good does it do?
Right. Like, you want the world to know how good you are. But before you know how good you are, you have to be able to explain it to the people at their level of understanding. And that takes some time.
100% agree. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. That definitely gives me a starting point, because I am still at that point where, though I do know AI is what we're kind of like streamlining toward, especially within the class and where Theo's vision is going, I want to do that, but I'm still trying to figure out where. I think I want to go down like an AI SecOps route, somewhere down that path. Obviously, there's so many like variants that could happen within that like realm of working, right? But I got to narrow down what I want to do and kind of focus on the skills that I want to present. So I definitely will have to take what you said about getting the job descriptions and the job roles and requirements and putting that together to be able to get more information about what I need to like perfect, or not perfect, but strengthen my speech ops game.
All right, hold on, guys. Real quick, I'm gonna give you guys a time check, because Dak, I know you got time. We're at the 45-minute mark, and then, guys, I dropped it in the chat. We're having a fundraiser for the channel. We're $600 short our goal. We need to raise it by the 17th. So, okay, I see two guys just, Eric Reed, thank you for the $10 Cash App, and Vincent Purdy, thanks for the $25 on the fundraiser. Man, appreciate you guys. Let's do some drops real quick, and then we'll come back with a time chat. Let's rock.
We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up. Off-fire stop.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sure enough.
Well, who am I?
Sure enough.
Who am I?
Sure enough.
I can't hear you.
Sure enough.
Oh, that was Simeon. Okay. You know, I'll be know you guys' real names. Yo, appreciate you, Simeon. Thank you guys for contributing to the fundraiser. We got to keep the lights on over here. And where is my Denzel Washington? Yo, Simeon, man, appreciate you.
My nigga.
All right. Dak, so we're at the 47-minute mark. You tell me what you want to do.
I say let's go into the article and then this is some architecture.
All right, bet. All right, let's do it then. All right, so Dak and Josh. All right, so Josh, I'm glad I sold you on coming on the show yesterday. And it is pretty much how I thought it was going to go. Dak was my I took my exam November 19th in Peru, and I had a study group with Dak, I believe almost 3 months prior to me taking an exam. And like I told you, I only used one Stefan Marek's practice exam. I had some supplementary materials because you saw and Dak's telling you use the LLM like I was telling you how I did for my notes. But I only missed by 40 points. So, whatchamacallit? So I was like, okay, if Dak talks to you about speech ops, I think we'll pretty much get you up to speed, and you will have the Drew Titan, okay, and you'll have the confidence to to start interviewing because, bro, you're 25 and you got your stipend and whatnot, so you might as well just what do you call it? You might as well just jump in there, start interviewing, man, you got nothing to lose. You just take interviews left and right, and then with each interview, you go back with guys, and you review the interview questions, how you did, and it's just a muscle. After a while, you'll just be scheduling interviews. The interviews will end up turning into how when you're actually on the job and you have to do, if you do any customer facing, via the phone, and you get their requirements and you're recommending services, et cetera, and solutions. It'll end up being like that. You'll get on your interviews end up being like, okay, hey, you know what I'm saying? It'll be like breathing after a while. And I think that's brilliant to what Dax developed with these speech ops protocols. Because it's taking your current body of knowledge, but it's putting you in a situation where you have to draw on it, speak on it, articulate in an articulate manner as the situation demands. And you do it impromptu on the spot, and it shows your level of proficiency and mastery of the technology, the services, and its applications. And with that is a muscle.
Yeah. And real quick, shout out to you for showing me that notebook LLM. that Google has yesterday. Like before I went to bed, I was experimenting with it, just uploading because, like I said, still studying other stuff. I'm starting to work my way into Docker and Kubernetes, and I was uploading just some material from stuff that I randomly have kind of compiled into a playlist, and like I found, and I threw it in there, and the infographic and the audio was creating. I was like,
I told you, bro. I told you. I mean, that 10x my study output, because it creates the study materials for me, and it's my job just to review them. You know what I'm saying? Like that step of actually creating the study materials, sifting through it, and then trying to retain the knowledge. It's extremely time consuming. The AI
meaning your studying habits. It's making it more efficient.
Exactly. It consolidates the information, and you know it's the right information because you've provided the data set. So like I said, it creates the study materials. You saw how I was yesterday at the restaurant. I'm just sitting, we were all talking, and I'm going through my slideshow like, that sounds awesome. EC2, you know what I mean?
Yeah, lambda function. You're like,
lambda function. You know what I mean? I'm cracking jokes. Yeah, it just makes it so much easier. And because it provides the MP3 summary and the video summary, I've got like, I walk around all day when I'm running at the gym. I'm listening to AWS stuff for the exam, and I put a little music to it, and it's the constant background repetition. And like I said, I was surprised when I took the exam because only one question was from those shaping pixel dumps. So I literally figured out all 64 of those questions in real time. And a part of that also was with the methodology I learned from DAC in terms of thinking from a system design and an architect's perspective. So it doesn't matter what case study they give me. I'm looking at the services, I'm looking at the requirements, I'm looking at the answers and stuff that there's no way that could be part of the answer. I've automatically narrowed it down to 2 answers. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I appreciate that. And if I can figure out how to maybe tune that to speech ops, then I definitely think I'll be a lot more efficient in my practicing for the interviews or whatnot.
Well, yeah,
you're on there. You're on the way, man. I can tell. Like you're on the way. So don't worry. You're gonna be. You're closer than you think, as Rob would say. You really
are. International Quiet Storm in the goddamn building, who is the official channel moderator. Quiet Storm been riding with us since season 1, and he is also in Thea's class and is currently, like you, Josh, finishing up Armageddon.
Yeah, I met Storm when we were down at the Miami Conclave. We had a few cigars, a few drinks together or whatnot among some other guys. Great guy.
You were with Naaman, the Pakistani guy.
Yep.
And then hold on once again. Moses 3986 with the $20 super chat. I appreciate you, bro. He says for the love. All right, I guess tech support is starting to pick up. Let's do some quick drops and get back to it.
And afterwards, that is directly following, I want to talk to you about something even bigger. Namely, this is Max Headroom. And what you
Can't beat the drops. All right, let's go. Let me load up this article real quick. And hey guys, you guys that's what I was saying. I just let you guys rock. You guys are doing fantastic with the back and forth. And that's what I was telling you, Josh. I was like, once we were talking, I was like, you know what? Let's just bring you up, and then you could just ask Dak these questions, and you guys can go at it. And I'm a content creator, so in my head, I'm like, this will be great content. I just let these guys go. I just let these guys go. You know what I mean?
It's fantastic. It's great dialogue. I mean, because I can give my perspective as someone who's still trying to break in the field, and then Dak as a senior just giving me feedback on, hey, look at this, look at that. Or try not to look at it from this way. Try to look at it from that, and this is the end goal. You know, it's great stuff.
Well, so much of this is Dak's wheelhouse. Like I said, he's been my accountability partner and a study tutor for like 3 months. So like I've had all these conversations with him prior to even actually taking the exam on the 19th. But was Saul who was like, bro, I think you should just take the exam. You've been studying, blah, 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 blah. Let's just see how you do. And then I ran it by Dak, and like him and Saul were on the same page. They were like, bro, yeah, you're ready. So, and that's the other thing. Like, sometimes you just don't know for yourself. It's hard for you to gauge yourself, the level of preparedness that you're at. All right. So, hold on. And I dropped this article in the chat earlier. And I'll actually send it to you on WhatsApp when we get off of here. But this is the article I'm going over, guys. This is Chief Information Officer. It was a very popular magazine. I actually used to read it. This is online, and this is dated January 1st, 2026. 11 in-demand cloud role. Companies are hiring for. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Sure. All right, good. So increased cloud adoption has companies adding new roles to ensure success in the cloud. From security architects to FinOps managers, here's where they're expanding their IT talent rosters. And I'm actually just going to read through the titles. And then if anyone wants to, you guys can read the article at your leisure. They give you a tremendous amount of percentages, et cetera. Pretty much like Theo said, this is going to be a blue ocean for all of us in cloud, especially with the expansion of AI in the next 5 years. He was like, we're going to, Theo basically was saying, start up, guys. There's an opportunity to make a tremendous amount of money in this next 5-year run. I'm going to read just a portion of these of this overhead, and then I'm going to jump right into the titles. Organizations continue to invest heavily in cloud solutions heading into 2026 with the goal of improving employee productivity by 31%, accelerating adoption of AI and machine learning by 13%, and improving security and governance in the organizations, that's GRC, 30%, according to the 2025 CIO Cloud Computing Study from Foundry. The survey found that 70% of IT decision makers agree their organization has accelerated cloud migration in the past 12 months compared to 62% in 2024 and 57% in 2023. Additionally, 70% said their organization defaults to cloud-based services when upgrading or purchasing new technology, and 71% said cloud investments have helped their organization sustain an increase in revenue over the past 12 months. And let's look at a couple of these jobs. So security architect, we talk about that one. That would be your SSA, and then get the security specialty badge. Cloud systems administration, data architect, cloud governance and compliance manager, security engineer, and these are all job titles you can, like Dak was telling you, Josh, to start querying with regard to job descriptions and start putting your CSV together so you can tailor your resume and your speech ops accordingly. Cloud product manager, cloud consultant, we've all heard that one. DevOps engineer, we definitely have heard that one. FinOps, cloud cost optimization practitioner. I actually just recently heard about this one, and I've got a background in banking for 13 years. So actually, this one, I'd be fairly...
Real quick, the FinOps, I've heard a lot about that, not to derail it, but I have a university degree in finance. So how is that something that would, I guess, be able to like transition for going from cloud to having somewhat of a background in that. Do you have any quick thoughts on that?
I would say the thing is that I told you earlier is that you want to build at least a database of jobs, and then you can take your background, the things that you have, and leverage, again, the analytics to see how can you communicate those transferability of skills, because there's a lot of things in common with that, but it's like, how do you know how to map them? And that's what you have to, that's what you have to figure out, mapping that to that particular job role. And there's an alignment, and if there's an alignment on that, then it's more like, all right, you have to understand more market research behind that. Maybe like, you know, and that'll go more so towards maybe getting with some people on LinkedIn, following them, or talking to some people, networking with them who are already in that field, and they will be able to give you a more nuance, more context on what they're looking for and what they do day to day. But that initial start would just be to, you know, do the job description, the job role, and then seeing and asking, like, how does it map to what your existing skill set is, and then what you need to do to get there.
Exactly. And Theo, a majority of Theo's cloud and security and tech career was him working with banks, a gigantic bank in Japan, and I believe a bank here in the States as well. So, so basically, healthcare and banks and finances, there's a mass rush for them to get their migrate a lot of their legacy systems to the cloud. There'll be hybrid solutions, of course. So the market for that is huge. And if you understand anything finance related or banking related on top of your actual technical skills, that gives you a tremendous amount of leverage in the market. And that's what Theo and a lot of my friends were saying to me, because I was like, I don't know, transitioning to this business analyst, PM stuff and the tech stuff. And everybody was like, yo, the banking shit, like once you get the technical stuff, you're going to be open for so many jobs, because all of these financial institutions, yeah, they want to hire engineers and stuff, but they prefer to hire guys who actually understand the industry. It cuts the learning curve.
Well, here's the thing. So let's apply for both of you guys. I know you're still in the process of getting your SAA. Josh, you have your SAA. So one of the things that are always having to look at in studies on disaster recovery, environments that are highly available. So there's where cost comes in. Costs. Now, when I'm saying costs, I'm talking about technical costs. What are the trade-offs from going onto a serverless versus a server that has the app baked in? Let's say you're using a firewall, for example, right? Let's say, all right, you have an environment, take banking, they want 5 nines, which is 99.999% of availability. So they want you to be able to talk about how can you implement the security, the hardening of those systems. So you have to weigh, okay, well, yes, I can use the firewall, the web application firewall, but the problem with it is that it's a layer 7. You have issues where you don't have coverage throughout the system. You don't have coverage for the content delivery. You need extra hardening. So you need to look into the marketplace. AWS has a marketplace where you can use Fortinet, Checkpoint, next generation firewalls in between, to fortify that. Those are things that they're going to look for. Like, you got a whole space firewall with the security group. Then you have to make sure that that application itself is hardened. Then you have to have before you even get to that application, you have to create a demilitarized zone that allows those who are outside users to get in. Now you see what I'm talking about. These are things that you have to add in. When they're talking about cost, it's not just the cost on the financials. It's more like it's the cost of their assets and what are they willing to, what's their risk tolerance. And typically with banks and, they have a high risk tolerance in terms of they can deal with a lot of they just need a have a robust system to where if one thing falls off, it's still going. You don't want to have what's called a single point of failure. So these are the things they're talking about in terms of optimization. And so you take that into consideration to drive an optimal solution. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for, okay, I have these particular services that I can tell you in the well-architect framework. No, it's like how can you take their business requirements to drive to a particular framework to implement? That's what they're looking at, and making it highly available, fault tolerant.
Okay, got you. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail that. I know you were reading my book.
Oh no! This is great. Like it's great that you brought it up, because this is something that even the certification doesn't teach you. You'll answer questions, but it won't teach you how to do that. And that's something that you can get only when you're on the job and from people who are in the industry that are doing that.
And like I said, I'm gonna send you the link to this article and everything. And this is a good starting source and whatnot. But like I said, bro, by the time you get in all the speech op sections, you'll be good to go. Like you already know how they operate in the group. So like I said, you're in phase 2, so which is a good phase. So this is the FinOps Cloud cost optimization practitioner, FinOps lead, FinOps manager, and site reliability engineer. So those are just 11. This, like I said, this is the beginning of this year, and it maps with one, with what we know, and then also what Theo's been saying, that with the new building of all these data centers, this AI arms race, we are in a cloud boom for all of us getting into this industry, which is a fantastic thing. And that's what I was telling you when I ended up talking to you yesterday. I was like, bro, you're 25, you already got the HashiCorp and the SAA and the AI practitioner. Like, bro, like, what are you waiting for? And you got a little income from your military stipend. Double down on interviewing. Like, just interview for 3-4 months straight. Go all in. I was like, bro, before you're 26, you'll have a 6-figure remote. Like, bro, like, easy peasy. People will kill to be in your position.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna just say this, right? I witnessed something recently where I was a testimonial from a guy that's like 22, 23, working as a solutions architect. He doesn't have a college degree. He just finished high school. He has a high school diploma, but what helped him get through the door when he had his interview with the chief technical officer was how relatable he was. He had a warm personality that they vibed with. And that's the thing that you have to, when you reach to that point, you will be undeniable for people to work with, and they will be willing to pay you for it. They'll pay for your training. Don't worry about the certifications. When the company you're with, they will pay you. They will pay you to do the training. They will do all of that. So, but don't worry about that. Just make sure that you focus on what they need and leverage them in that room. Ask. That's going to drive you to getting the job. Don't worry about these other things. It'll come a time when you're going to need it, and they will be willing to pay for it. You won't have to pay for that stuff. You'll be good. Don't worry. You'll be good.
All right, gotcha.
All right, guys. This but I think you'll enjoy the playback. This has been a pretty good stream. Like, in terms of the actual thing, we got a real recent grad already in Armageddon, overseas, already traveling. I believe you're headed to Japan at some point. It's in real time. You got the cert and everything. So we're talking about what's the next phase. what's the next phase in terms of you interviewing speech ops, and we're doing it live on air so we can see it's the real thing. International Quiet Storm says bottom line is anyone can build some stuff and make it work, but explaining what you built and how it applies to the outside world and why it's beneficial is what separates the boys from the goddamn men.
Couldn't say it any better than that.
Say what?
I couldn't say any better than that, man. Those are bars, man. Those are bars. He was talking heavy right there. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's from Quiet Storm. It was the official Bill King. Storm, yeah, I was telling Josh yesterday because I was saying like, that's actually a good nuance to make. The actual DevOps environment of the actual boot camps and being able to build things and everything and pipeline and what have you is one aspect. Actually taking a cert is a completely different skill set. And you've done both. So now the speech ops and the interviewing, that is another completely different skill set. And like I was telling you yesterday, Josh, after the GCP class, and I got grandfathered into the AWS class because I was prepping for the GCP cert. I was just like, okay, let me just double down on AWS. That's the most prominent. And I knew more people in that group, so I thought I was going to have study partners. But then I moved overseas. And right then I realized that once I started studying for the GCP cert, I was like, man, I passed Armageddon and all that other shit. And I didn't know anything when it came to taking the cert, like the practice questions. It was like I was reading Chinese. And I was like, man, these things are two different skill sets. So I just decided I had to focus on one thing. Let me just focus on getting the cert, and I can double back and do an Armageddon from AWS, and that'll be my fast track to the, to actually building stuff. And that's what I was telling you yesterday. Once I pass the cert, I'm gonna go check in with Quiet Storm and just have a walk me through a build, and I'll do it piece by piece, even if it takes 2-3 weeks. Once I send it to GitHub, I'll just build it and tear it down once a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and especially TIQS. I've seen some of his scripts, and man, that's some work right there.
Yeah, he's a build monster, right? Yeah.
That's some work right there.
Serge, Serge is my team leader for Black Spartans, and like we keep calling Serge MVP because he's certed up so super fast, faster than like CKS, CKA, everything. He just got hired twice for 2 double jobs, but at the same time he helps everybody. He gives away all his resources, and he's teaching a Python class for guys. So that's why I was like, Serge is like MVP, but and he builds too. But like once I saw Quiet Storm double down, like he was just building stuff left and right. I was like, man, it's, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's gonna be. So like, I went to Dak for the systems thinking to get through the cert part, and then I'll be with him for speech ops. But when it comes, when I got to go back and just brush up on actually compensate for not being in the classes all the time and just build shit, I'm just gonna go right to Quiet Storm. You know what I mean? And that's what's so good about the group. Like everyone's got different, life experience that's gonna dictate the speed with which they either acquire the cert or how they can absorb the information with the actual boot camp. But there are people you can lean on in groups. When you're ready to do something, you can just reach out to them and be like, hey, I'm ready to double down on this. And like, they'll be like, bet, I got you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, making connections with all the guys. Sergino is actually my group leader in class 6, which is pretty funny. So like, no, but definitely it seems that everyone kind of has a skill set within.
Oh, wait, so you were in GCP too?
No. This was with class 6. Remember, I said I did 5, and then 6, but I had to step away because of 6.
Yeah, you're right. I think class GCP is 6.5, right?
Correct.
All right.
The 0.5s are usually GCP. I don't know what Theo's going to do going forward with Azure, but Yeah, but yeah, no, I've met all these guys, all great guys, all have, I would say, are proficient, but each one has a certain skill set. You know, everybody kind of specializes in something or has something they're stronger in, and it's a great community, especially like you said, doubling down on something or trying to focus on something. I mean, just a plethora of knowledge within Theo's group.
All right, but International Quiet Storm says I told my group this last night. Armageddon is built for you. It's a way to showcase your skill set to recruiters and slash hiring managers. Once you translate that to the outside world, companies hunt for you. Basically, what's in it for me and BL and Bluff? Bottom line up front, 100%, and that's the genius of what Theo has done, and I've said that numerous times to him on this, in private and on this podcast, that he's basically guys are coming in, and the way he makes everybody pick groups, working within groups. People don't realize that until they get toward the end or they start interviewing, that he's basically put you guys all in like little DevOps production groups, and he's forcing you guys to basically work like little DevOps production teams. You know what I mean? You got a team leader and everything, and like however you guys structure it, and then you're responsible for your team. And when he calls you in for stuff, you report for your team. That's kind of how like it is in the business thing. Like there's the production team over it, and then even with the Armageddons, he's basically setting up like a epic and sprint situation where you have to deliver a product. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of a software development cycle. So he already put you in that environment. You just don't know it yet. And even with you complaining about the Armageddon projects, he's basically forcing you to build your portfolio before you even ever go to interview. It's quite brilliant.
Yeah, and then like I said earlier ago, you already are priming yourself for the speech jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you already are doing it and not even knowing it. That's how I came up with it in the first place. I'm already doing it, right? And I'm like, okay, this is just another layer of it. And when you have a crisp speech ops, doesn't matter what your knowledge base is. You're going to be undeniable, and you have that in your mind, right? You have very much a good mindset. You'll be able to work with anybody. You'll be able to get where you need to go and help them too. Because to me, the master of it all is communication. Communication is essential. A technology may be deprecated in 5 years. Especially with AI, lots of things change. There's a lot of moving parts. But when you understand the fundamental dynamic of how you work with the people and what the value that you can bring to them, and then looking at the value that they're giving you by answering those questions, it's going to be something that's going to drive you throughout your entire career.
All right, solid. Guys, Dak, I'm mindful of your time. We're at the 1 hour, 18-minute mark. Let's load up What's Your Architecture? This one's 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And this one's actually, I believe, Snapchat. Yep, Snapchat. The AWS architecture for Snapchat. And we'll talk through it real quick and get up out of here. So let's add to stage. Let's see if I make this a little bigger. Bang, here we go. Make sure my volume is turned up. And all right, let's go.
Welcome to This Is My Architecture. My name is Andrea, and I'm here with Saral from Snap. Hi, Saral. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So what do you guys do?
So Snapchat is an app that hundreds of millions of people around the world use to communicate with their close friends. Our focus is on close friendships, and we enable the fastest way to communicate by building features like AR lenses, maps, Bitmoji, and Spotlight.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk about the platform, which resides on AWS. I'm super excited. And let's look at the end-to-end workflow using Snap, sending a snap using Snapchat. This must be massive scale. I mean, how many users do you have and how many snaps do you deal with on a daily basis?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have over 300 million daily active users on the platform.
Okay, that's massive scale. Let's look at the life cycle. You know, I'm a user, I'm using iOS, Android. What's the flow? What's the first thing that happens when I send a snap?
Right. The first thing which happens is the iOS app uses our gateway, which is an EKS service which we have built to talk to the media delivery service and send the snap to CloudFront and persist it in S3, just so that it's closer to the recipient when they need it.
I see. Okay, so this runs on Elastic Kubernetes service. How do you orchestrate this?
Right. So our MCS is the core orchestration service which we have. The next thing which the client does is, again, the client makes, once the client has persisted the media, it makes a request to the core orchestration service, which then checks the friend graph. The friend graph ensures that the sender actually has permissions to send the message to the recipient. Once the permissions check is done, then it actually persists all of the conversation metadata into our own database called SnapDB, which under the covers uses DynamoDB.
I see. So what made you choose to create your own SnapDB as a front end to DynamoDB?
Yeah, so we are talking about a lot of scale on DynamoDB, and we chose to build some higher level features ourselves, like transactions, TTL, as well as how to efficiently kind of deal with ephemeral data in our own layer. We also deal with incremental state synchronization so that we are not putting a lot of burden on DynamoDB and it keeps our costs in control.
I see. So you're storing the metadata in DynamoDB,
that's
right? So what level of scale are we talking about here?
So we are talking about 400 terabytes of data, which we store in DynamoDB. And interestingly, we run nightly scans on DynamoDB, which run 2 billion rows per minute to kind of do various things on DynamoDB, including looking for friend suggestions or deleting ephemeral data as well. So we are very heavy users of DynamoDB.
Okay, so you do nightly scans just to make sure that it maintains the relationships and friends and everything.
Right.
Okay, so we talked about, you know, the send snap. What about the receiving end? What happens?
Right. So the most interesting part about receiving Snap is it is very latency sensitive, right? Your friend wants to get the message as soon as possible. So for the first thing the messaging service does is it looks up a connection ID, a server ID from Elasticache to get access to the persistent connection which a server has to the Android client or to any clients in the world, so that we can quickly push a message to that client. So we look up the metadata from the Elasticache, we find the server which this client is already connected to, and through that gateway, we basically send the message to the recipient.
I see. And then you retrieve the data as well, the image or video through and chat information through S3.
Exactly. So that media ID was persisted all the way through to Elasticache as well as DynamoDB. So we use that media ID to kind of get the information from CloudFront.
Makes mostly sense. Now, this is massive scale. Like, can you give us some quantitative details of like what size cluster are you running? Just give us some numbers.
Yeah, we have over 900 EKS clusters running, and many of those clusters have over 1,000+ instances, which makes this like a really heavy kind of service graph essentially.
Makes perfect sense. And I mean, how do you keep this at a low cost, high performance? I think through you mentioned latency is hugely important on the receiving side, but also the cost.
Yeah, for sure. Like latency, when we moved to this architecture, we were able to reduce the P50, the median latency of sending a snap by 24%, which is a huge business impact for us. Secondly, in terms of cost, because we use so much compute footprint, we are always looking at things like auto scaling as well as using the right instant types like Graviton to keep our compute costs low.
That's fantastic. I mean, this is interesting architecture because you're dealing with massive amount of data, and you're cleverly kind of coming up with innovative ways with, for example, SnapDB to reduce latency and really make that user experience better, and then use of Graviton and others to keep the cost low. So thanks for walking us through this architecture.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for watching. This is my architecture.
All right. Oh no, hold on. I got you. Hold on. All right, perfect. I already see the comments.
So thanks for walking us through this architecture.
I already see the comments.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
All right, perfect. And what does it say? What do you call it? Why is it black? What is going on? Fuck you. It jumped backwards. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, Quiet Storm says, well, one, they couldn't believe that this is the actual architecture, but they're using containers. They're using containers. All right, hold on. Should be on pause. It's still loading up.
Welcome to Decima Architecture.
All right, let me just jump back to here we are. Let me move her hand out the way. There we go. Make that large. And then let me see what we got going on in the comment section. Great question. Yeah, that's the architecture. Let me move this over actually. Bang. You're saying DynamoDB can be massive. I know that thing is expensive. All right, go ahead. All you, Dak.
Yeah. So those, I want us to focus at this moment not on the technology, but just look at the notes that they have here. They're giving us like, okay, these things are like the technical requirements are based on that business use case that drove the solution. Now, this particular solution here for Snapchat, I will say, is something that is very peculiar to me, because with it having such a large user base, they cannot only be using AWS in the solution, because AWS is like on one giant network, cloud provider network. Something goes down, they're kind of screwed. So on the back end, I'm pretty sure they're using like a Google or some multi-cloud solution. And so in this particular setup here, they give you all of these requirements, what they need for caching, the amount of users. It's a global organization. And to go back to what International Quiet Storm was saying about DynamoDB, DynamoDB handles with all of the metadata, and it's a very expensive approach. And the thing about it is that DynamoDB is managed. It's a managed, unstructured database that AWS has, and it handles all of it baked in. But it's also very costly. And you think about it, it has in the scale across multiple regions. And the thing about DynamoDB is that it's kind of like a turtle in a sense compared to, say, Elasticache. Elasticache, you're going to get immediate results. DynamoDB is eventually consistent. It's not like completely readily, like it'll get to the other regions, but it's not like a readily consistent type. So that's why it's expensive. That's why it's really expensive. But Elasticache is really good for getting the accounts, reading those accounts, and then going back and giving the results to make sure that whoever is going into their Snapchat is a user on there. Now that gateway is an API call of some kind. And it also consists of some type of login. So since it's a social media app, they need to be connecting in through like some kind of OpenID situation. So it's going to be like a socials, like maybe they have a Facebook, Google, whichever login they're going to use. That's why he called it gateway. Gateway is kind of like just this abstraction of what's really going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, so you're saying like Cognito might be in there somewhere.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That'll be something like a Cognito, some type of OpenID to do all that. But he's abstracting that for the sake of the whiteboard. And
I think they may I think you're right about the multi-cloud solution. They may just be showing their AWS stack.
Right, exactly. I have, this is what I'm saying. So like, and again, going into the heart of it is EKS. So he's already talking about that this is something that's going to scale. So since it's a social network, they have their own custom graph database, a graph table.
Yo, I'm glad you said that. I was about to say that too. He didn't mention anything about a graph.
The friend graph is the graph database. Yeah, so the graph table is like for typically done. It's like for social networking, environments, and then also he has like essentially like a abstracted version of the database from SnapDB, which gets other things that is capturing that will also be backed into the metadata. almost like an artifact. DynamoDB is also, I think, as like as an artifact source for that metadata. And then the media content, that's all saved. That's going to be shared in the CloudFront. So CloudFront helps distribute everything globally in a secure environment, so that mitigates, of course, the DDoS. And then you have the S3 bucket for the splash page. That's just like for static content delivery, right? But CloudFront has it connected to where it ensures that the access to those users is immediate. And then, and then really, like, that's pretty much it. Like, EKS essentially is a workflow that is managed by AWS. And that also is very costly because they're managing the scaling. You're not having to do any of that. You're kind of like setting up, okay, what's your process flow? And that's what they did, the MCS, which is the code and the media, and then all that stuff that's deviated into the data, the graph table data for the networks, the different accounts and who they're linked to, and then the SnapDB, which just gets you all of the metadata behind that's connected to those images, and then that's also stored in an artifact in a DynamoDB database. And then Elasticache, which just wants to verify that those users are actually the users. So if there are, cool. If they're not allowed access.
Quiet Storm said, damn it, now I want to build this. I noticed too, that's crazy. You said they're running about 900 containers with 1,000 EC2s in each. That's crazy. That's massive. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
While I don't know the intricacy of building this, I do understand the services. So it doesn't seem too simple or too difficult, but I know it's a little bit more intricate behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think he's giving you an abridged version of the architecture, at least with the AWS stack.
Yes. And a lot of times, simple is best. What we have to avoid is over-engineering the solution. And that's why you look at the business requirements and the technical requirements, because that's going to tell you what they're looking at in terms of implementation. Because if you start out with just designing an architecture and not understanding what those requirements are, you run yourself into a trap. And so what I was saying was that that particular architecture is really cool because it's all like, it's very simple. Everything is managed essentially in terms of the containers. You break it up into individual microservices. And so you can use those Kubernetes pods to install different applications. And for them, they have certain applications that they want to use for their graph tabling and for their metadata. And then they take that and artifact it into the DynamoDB so that in the case that there's an outage, they're able to recover it from the DynamoDB meta tables. So they're able to collect all of that. And then the Elasticache, of course, are for the accounts. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you guys about what I explained and how all that is tied into their design?
Oh yeah, 100%. No, it makes absolute sense. All right, well played. We got another episode of What's My Architecture out of the way. I think these are nice ways to end the segments because we do the conversation and then we get a little piece of technical know-how at the end. And like I said, man, it's about time to come out in the open and kind of normalize these tech-related conversations with black men having them. Because at least with this particular, Quiet Storm says, yes, totally dialed in. All right, gentlemen. That is a wrap. Let's get closing statements. Take your time, and we will get out of here. I want to thank the chat for coming out. More importantly, I want to thank everybody who contributed to the fundraiser. I already sent the money where it needs to go. I think we raised $45. So I appreciate you. We already sent the money where it needs to go. I did that while we were in the stream. Man, yeah, let's get closing statements and get the hell up out of here. And let's start with you, Josh, and we'll get Dak to close us out.
I really don't have much. You know, this was very, very informative, not only being able to kind of sit down and actually ask questions about next steps in the process of, you know, really just going through Theo's class, but it's like a lot of guys kind of get SAA and then they don't really know where to proceed after that. The easiest thing for us to do is kind of like, all right, well, I got this cert, time to just keep going to class and studying for other certs versus actually kind of throwing ourselves in the fire and really starting to hone down on what we already know and be able to communicate that. So I just want to say I appreciate you for giving me some insight into that. And then, like I said, the next steps of taking the time to be able to refine my skills. So.
All right. Well, then I got one follow-up question for you because we met randomly at Rico's, a restaurant here in Cali, Colombia, and I think you're down here because of quite possibly Andre. Is that correct?
Yeah. Shout out to Love Across the Borders.
All right. So then I just want to add one additional thing because Theo would appreciate this as well. You're 25. You're certed. You were in the Army. You're about to start speech ops, interviewing for these jobs, hopefully remote. I know you said you were going to Japan. Say something about what you want, your decision to, well, especially because you're 25, incorporate travel, embrace the travel lifestyle, double down, and you've shown discipline with regard to check. Because you're certed in the right things, HashiCorp for the Terraform, SAA, a fairly difficult cert, whether any a first-time cert, and the AI practitioner. With those two things together, you're down in Colombia, around me. You're in Santa Monica. You're not too far from me. And like I said, you've already been traveling. You're certed up, you're ready, and you and I were talking yesterday because we ran into another software engineer while we were talking there who's also working remote.
Yeah.
So we ended up talking about it. So yeah, why did you choose this particular? Because I think this is the future for most Black men. Traveling. Not being tied to the U.S., not at least not all year round, and having these remote high net worth jobs. What do you say to that?
So the reason how I kind of ended up in this field is randomly, shout out to the brother International Passport. I was actually watching his stream while I was doing an internship. I was working for Wells Fargo at the time doing wealth management, and after kind of seeing the corporate life of what it's like to sit in a cubicle for 8 hours a day, even though I might not have anything to do, I was like, yeah, this isn't it. I would like to be able to actually enjoy life and be able to kind of explore and not have to just be confined to a space. So I remember Theo was on, he was in Austin. I was in Austin working, and I was like, I got to meet this guy. Everything he's saying sounds kind of like what I want to do. And he's saying that one of the things he always says is all you need is a pulse to start. I would have never thought that I would have been capable to start working in tech or start going down the path to work in tech. So after meeting him and kind of getting some more insight into it, starting the class, it's just one of those things that, like every other career, you just got to give it the time and give it the studying. SA was a little difficult. At the time, I was transitioning out of the Army, so I had a lot more spare time. So I would say for about 2 months straight, it was just like clockwork. Gym, come home, study, gym again, come home, study. And that was like that for 2 months. But it's been a great experience just seeing where I progressed from not even knowing what an instance was or not even knowing about databases or trying to figure out how all these pieces play together. But sticking in class and talking to a bunch of the brothers and not trying to be a lone wolf about my studies and actually committing and really sitting down and taking the time to want to get after it. You know, it's a process, but it's rewarding in the end.
Well played. Quiet Storm says, and he's spot on with this. He said, I tell my guys, get your SAA, PCA certs, get a Terraform cert, then go get a job. Make the company pay for your future certs and pay you at the same damn time. Dak, that's all you. Closing statements, and we'll get the hell up out of here.
I mean, I couldn't say any better than what Quiet Storm just said there, man. It's like you just need a couple of certs to get you started, and then just get yourself primed up, hone in your speech ops, and then just get out the door, put your reps in through the interviews. You'll be good to go, man. Like everything else after that, leverage the business, leverage them, let them pay for you to skill up. You don't have to pay data after that. It's like, let them make the money work for you, not the other way around. That's all I got.
Yes, sir. Guys, I'm not going to hold you. This was for the Thursday version of tech support, because I do the Sunday version with Theo. This one was fantastic. I'm glad my instincts was right, telling you to just come up and just hash it out with Dak live on there. This was a great episode, gentlemen. No News says, while you are still on the air, I just want to say that the military is a great stepping stone. Josh is Army. International Quiet Storm says, shout out to the vets, retired combat Navy veteran.
Shout out to the vets. Oh, yes, sir.
All right, gentlemen and chat. First and foremost, man, I really, truly, you know, we've been on the air for 3 years. We like never asked for money. Everybody that contributed to the fundraiser, it's going to be going on all the way until like the 17th. That's when everything's due. Listen, I really appreciate you guys. Like, you got no idea. So thank you for supporting, everybody contributing to the conversation in the chat. No News says, shout out to Quiet Storm, retired 22-year Army veteran. All right, so yeah, No News is Army, International Quiet Storm is Navy. And we are veteran heavy, just down in this space in general, as it were. That being said, thank you, Dak. Thank you, Josh. Hopefully I'll see one or both of you again next week on Thursday, so we can redo this. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This is a new series on the channel. It appears to be performing quite well, and we could not do it without you. That being said, like we always say, good night and good luck. Let's go get them.
With AWS powering your core operations, you demand uncompromising reliability. You need a global team of AWS experts and tools that provide application-level guidance to mitigate risks and improve resolution times. You need AWS Unified Operations. To improve resilience and performance, Unified Operations delivers workload reviews, guidance on migrations, launches, testing, and cost optimization, application-specific alarm monitoring and alerting, and 5-minute context-specific response times for critical incidents. Contact your AWS account team to learn more. With AWS